Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Jen. My website is innerworkcoaching.life if you want to go and check it out at some point. I'm doing today a one slide video because sometimes I have topics kind of pop into my head and kind of bug me for a prolonged period of time. So I decided whenever something like that happens, it's probably important for me to write it down as an idea and focus on it at some point soon. So when I have these random little ideas, I'm just going to make a quick video, share my thoughts about it, and go from there. So the one that was popping up for me last week was talking about emotional resistance as far as how it blocks your manifestations. So emotional resistance, you can have emotional resistance to anything and everything. People talk about it all the time. There's things like change resistance. That's a topic that I've actually researched and written about before, is change resistance. And really, resistance is just resistance. It doesn't matter what category of resistance you put it in. Resistance is resistance, and it is pretty much exactly what it sounds like, where it's unpleasant or uncomfortable emotions when going towards something, or when progressing, or just kind of going through life. So I'm going to use myself as an example, like I tend to do quite often. The reason why emotional resistance kept coming up for me is because I'm at a point right now where I am working my way through various different self-sabotaging kind of thoughts and thought loops that have been conditioned into me. So, for example, one that kept coming up was a feeling of I'm going to somehow get in trouble or be reprimanded or be punished, I guess, for sharing my opinion. And I know exactly where this comes from. This comes from guilt tripping and emotional manipulation from the past, that little that type of conditioning where you're basically programmed to have a guilty conscience all the time. And sharing your opinion in a circumstance like that is not really, it's frowned upon, and there's never really anything that comes right out and says, oh no, you're not allowed to have an opinion, but there's lots of things implied, and there's lots of things just energetically kind of present there, so anyway, that's where that comes from for me. But emotional resistance can be anything. Another example of emotional resistance is resisting the responsibility of what a successful lifestyle might entail. And this really isn't that big of a deal if you really break it down, because everybody's day has the same amount of time in it. But what I have noticed through my own experience is that when I wake up in the morning and I have a routine, I practice yoga and I eat a good healthy breakfast and meditate, and then really get focused and put on some music to focus with and everything like that, that's when I am the most productive, and that's when I gain the most clarity. But when I'm just kind of all, disorganized and chaotic throughout my day, which happens sometimes because I am a creative, and I'm, based on research, apparently this is pretty normal, but I do need to get it under control, and this is a process. It's not something that's just going to happen overnight, So emotional resistance also plays a part from the perspective of resisting what currently is within your life. So law of attraction is based on emotions. It is based on how you feel, because how you feel directly influences your energy, the frequency at which you vibrate. And the frequencies at which human beings can vibrate exist on a spectrum. And that's what the emotions indicate, right? Is this spectrum of vibration. Just like anything else, we don't necessarily always perceive every single level or shade of a spectrum, but we can definitely tell that it's not all black and white, and there's lots of different things, you know. Because law of attraction states that like attracts like, the emotional spectrum that you want to find yourself in ideally is one that is comfortable and pleasant and feels, you know, comfortable. Gratitude is a great way to get there. And if you're in a shitty situation, a shitty life circumstance, then it can be a challenge to get yourself into that state. Because just saying, yeah, whatever, I'm grateful for blah, 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 that's not enough. You have to be in the feeling of it, you know? And so, in order to diminish resistance and speed up the manifestation of what you want, of your desire, finding you and reaching you and actually coming into your experience, your present circumstances cannot be emotionally draining you or dragging you down. Like, you have to make the decision to not allow that, because it is going to hold you apart from what you're trying to attract, because you are not vibrating at the same frequency as that which you are trying to attract. And so it is, of course, it's easier said than done. You know, if you're in a really stressful place, if you've had nothing but trouble for months on end, like I had last year, then it can be a challenge. It can be a real challenge to get yourself into this manifestation friendly space, this manifestation friendly headspace, and heart space. But you can help yourself and kind of nudge the process along a little bit by taking really good care of yourself. You know, self-care is absolutely imperative. And making sure that you're not allowing others to drain you, and that you're not suffering from people pleaser syndrome or doormat syndrome, where you're just saying yes to everything and then you get overwhelmed and you don't have the energy to finish anything. I have gotten myself into this position numerous times before I learned my lesson there. And that's part of drawing boundaries. So emotional resistance will block your manifestations, because your vibrational state, the frequency at which you're vibrating, is not a match for the frequency at which your desire manifest is vibrating. So the best way to really begin to embody what it is that you're working toward is by looking at what are the habits, the daily habits and routines of someone who lives the lifestyle that I want to live. Now, for me right now, I'm just looking for a step up. I'm not looking for a mansion or anything. Eventually, I'd like to live by the beach, but I'm still piecing together what I want, you know? For now, I just want to be comfortable, you know, to be financially stable and comfortable without having to sacrifice my freedom of working from home. And so that's what I'm working toward. And there's lots of different things in the works, you know, and everything that I have needed in order to get to this point where I'm finally seeing some progress and some indications that this will be a successful journey. Oh crap, I can't remember how I started that sentence. See, this is what happens when you talk in really, really long sentences. That sucks. Anyway, emotional resistance. You've got to make peace with what is and detach from any specific how. Like, you can't be emotionally attached to one certain way of doing it. Like, if you have 3 different opportunities that you're going for and you love one more than the other 2, but you doubt that it's going to make you as much, so you choose a different one that you think is going to make you more because you're doubting yourself based on the thing that you love to do, then chances are that this is a self-sabotage. And while this will be a failure to teach you a lesson, it will get you closer to being comfortable with working with what you love and making money at it at the same time, because what we're looking for is a fusion. We're looking for a merger of the male and female energies, which is, it's all part of the illusion of separation. See, now we're getting into where everything's connected again. So the illusion of separation, masculine energy has basically taken over, and it's unbalanced. The entire Earth planet is unbalanced as far as its masculine and feminine energy. And the same thing is happening within the human brain. So when you're working through these problems like this, right, the right and left hemisphere, you can merge those 2 different perspectives or modalities or methods of thinking and have them work together rather than separating them. And that's what you're doing when you're merging all of the different aspects of your life into one, like one solid, you know, thing that feels simple, and it feels complete, and it feels doable, and it feels realistic, and it feels like, yes, this is a journey I can go on. You can merge all of that together. And of course, this is just theory, you know, these are just ideas that I'm piecing together based on what my knowledge is and what I'm receiving. And the left-right brain hemispheres merging is also part of the ascension process, I think. So, and it's not so much that they are going to fuse together all stiff and crazy and forceful. It's more like the communication paths will be opening and developing and, you know, and growing and evolving as we are. So when you merge, because we have this conditioned cognitive dissonance, right? Where we are conditioned to believe that something that we love to do is not allowed to be the thing that we do for work, because work is supposed to be only for money, and everybody's miserable at work, so we are subconsciously programmed to think that we are supposed to be miserable at work. And what this does too, an unforeseen repercussion of this, is that when you do rely on something that you love to do for working, sometimes it can burn you out even faster because you feel like you're using your creativity and you're not charging enough because you're undervaluing your skill. So if you're doing that and undercharging and not making enough on your skill based on your talents or whatever, or if you're just starting out, it can very well burn you out. And that sends mixed messages too. So, you know, it's all part of the process of working through blocks, you know, and these are just several layers that I've discovered. And maybe some of them resonate with you, but they are all emotional resistance. So working through these blockages and working through these things that hold you back, that come from your own conditioning, your own thought processes, your own emotions that, you know, maybe stem from whatever in the past. When you recognize these things as your emotional resistance, as the root cause of your emotional resistance, they become easier to let go. Because then you understand it, and then it's not so scary anymore. It's just, oh, well, that has nothing to do with now. Why am I letting that affect me now? You know, I know where it comes from now, so let's see, how can I help myself to work through this particular emotional weirdness and let it go. And the best ways to let go of pain or emotional discomfort of any kind, any quote-unquote negative emotion, is by bringing it to the surface. And in order to do this by yourself, you have to be 100% honest with yourself. You don't have to bare your soul to anyone you're not comfortable baring your soul to. You can do this in a journal too if you need to, like, get it out. But really, just be honest within yourself. Be 100%. And you might make yourself cry. You know, this is something that happens. But be 100% honest with yourself. Where is this coming from? And what is my part? And how can I be compassionate and absolutely forgiving about this? Absolutely forgiving of myself and of anyone else involved. And just let it go. Is there a lesson that I could learn from this? Not a well, I'm never going to trust people again kind of lesson, but a positive, applicable, wise lesson. And when you can extract that lesson from whatever you're working through, you can extract that lesson, that is when you have become an emotional alchemist. And that is when you are on your way to learning how to release any kind of emotional resistance and lift those blocks to manifesting your desires. So this turned out longer than I thought it would, but I'm going to go ahead and check it out and see if there's anything I need to take out. I think I screwed up earlier, but we'll see how bad it is. Ha ha ha. I might just leave it alone. I don't know yet. But anyway, thank you for watching and listening and being here. I really appreciate it. I've gotten so much positive feedback from you guys, so I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers, old and new. If you're just getting here and you're just familiarizing yourself with inner work and emotional work and law of attraction and spirituality, then you're pretty much where I am. Because I just really started focusing on sharing what I'm discovering. So if you're sort of toward the beginning stages of your journey and you don't want to feel so alone, then I definitely invite you to stick around and check out more of my videos. And yeah, I hope to see you again in the next one. And I hope that this content resonates with you and that you are able to gain some kind of insight or truth from it. So thank you so much for being here. Namaste.